Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's tutorial video where we look at Abraham and Sarah doubting God. Last week God spoke clearly to Abraham and told him to go, to take action and to take up the promise that God had for him and leave his country and his people. And this week we see that 30 years on, Abraham and Sarah are still waiting for the promise to materialize. So the first question I want to ask you is, how do we know when to act and when to wait? We're learning about waiting on God and dealing with doubt this week. How do we know when it's time to take action, when it's time to wait? That's the first question. The second question asks, why does God make us wait? What is the value of waiting? Seems like a lot of our lives are spent waiting for lots of different things. Why does God do that to us? And what's the value in that? The next question deals with what happens when we try to get ahead of God and try to make things happen, when we become impatient and disappointed perhaps that God hasn't delivered on his promise. And we see what happened to Abraham and Sarah when they came up with their own plan to solve the problem that was God's problem, not theirs. And you might be able to think of some examples from your own life where you've tried to make something happen when you should have waited. The next question, what happens when we do that and we've made a mess of things? Abraham and Sarah had a mess that they caused, which affected them and others, and even today we still suffer the consequences of some of their poor decision making. And they really violated their values to try to make something happen. And what do we do when that happens? It's not just them, it's all of us that do these things. And I've also got you looking at the story of the prodigal son and this great story that Jesus tells about what do we do when we've messed up. And the last question is really dealing with doubt. Is doubt a sin, or is it just a common human condition that we all have to struggle with? Is it possible to live without doubt? And if it's not possible, what do we do with doubt? So it's a really interesting topic this week, and I think it's common to all of us, and I hope you get a lot of value out of your discussion and out of looking at Abraham and Sarah's example, and about learning from each other and from God on how to trust God when it seems like nothing's really happening. Have a great study.